Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Stoner Podcast. Bro, we got so much shit to talk about. I don't even know where to start. Let's be real. I don't know where to begin. But first of all, I saw a report by TMZ stating that Celeste death certificate was changed to state that it is unknown if Celeste was pregnant, right? We in this channel have been suspecting that Celeste, there's a possibility that Celeste was pregnant. And I shared a post yesterday showing a video in which it appears possibly that Celeste was pregnant. I want to share that. I'm going to play the video and let's take a look, okay? Because this shit is wild. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at Celeste Death Certificate released by TMZ. And then we're going to take a look at the evidence the prosecution has piled up against David, according to the brief that was released yesterday. Then we will take a look at an actual interview David made on April 25th. April 25th is 2 days after the prosecution is stating that Celeste was unalived. Okay, so let's get started. We have so much shit to go through. And this is the very first thing I want to show you guys. Here's a video on Reddit. This was posted a day ago. And it says here, saw this neon or N3 on. I don't know, d4vd, N3 on. They talk like in codes here, right? It says that Neon's Halloween stream from October 2023, d4vd pops in, and who are the girls behind him, ? Especially the one wearing a mask, possibly Celeste or an underage girl. No, the one with the mask is not Celeste. I peeped Celeste right away. That's not Celeste in a mask. But let's play this. And you guys just check it out. What's up, senor? Thank you for joining. Here we go. Let's play this shit. That's not Celeste. To me, that looks like Asia. Asia, I'm drinking Kona Big Wave. So good. I know it's not the weekend yet, but fuck, it's been a week. This is Asia. Asia was on Sakura's live stream. That's what it looks like to me, allegedly, in my opinion. But the girl here in white, that's Celeste, baby. Watch. Look at that baby bump, you guys. I fucking saw that shit yesterday. And of course, TMZ, I swear to God, TMZ has their little trolls all around these streets. And I bet you they wanted to come out with a story like this. They might have even saw my thumbnail, but you know, I know I'm just a nobody, but I'm saying, like, isn't it coincidental, right? But look at the baby bump, you guys. That's what I wanted to show you. Watch. Look it. That's Celeste, baby. That's Celeste. That is Celeste here, and I got the chills right away. She may have been pregnant, honestly. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys because fuck, man. I don't know. I don't know. She could have been pregnant, you know, everything that is being said in this document, which I'm going to read in a little bit. It's possible. I'm not going to read the whole thing like word for word. Everyone's doing that. You can go to any podcast out there and you'll just hear the same. Everyone's just reading it off. I want to just look at the details in this document mainly. All right. So now that I showed you that, you guys, we are going to move on to the next thing here. Okay. So I'm going to remove that, right? You see that. That's fucking Celeste and she looks pregnant. Okay. Now let's go to the TMZ article that they just released about Celeste Death Certificate being changed. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me right now? Okay. So let me share my screen. And I have that document too. I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, this is wild. This is wild. This story, like the more shit, I wish like everything would just come out at once, but everything's being spilled little by little and little by little, little by little. And so it's like I have to like we all have to come out here and give you the story and give you the rumors or whatnot, you know, little by little. What's up, Knowles? Thank you for joining. Okay, so here we go. Here's the article, you guys. It is unknown if Celeste was pregnant. Death certificate has been updated. This is according to TMZ. This was published today and updated at 2:22 p.m. It reads, there are some important updates to the death certificate for Celeste Rivas. The document now reflects the fact the LA County medical examiner says she was murdered, and it's not unknown if she'd been pregnant in the year before she was killed. TMZ obtained Celeste's new death certificate, and it no longer says she was not pregnant. Now the section is marked with AU for unknown. The new certificate says the cause of death has been corrected from deferred to multiple penetrating injuries, and the manner of death is updated from pending investigation to homicide. The document was also corrected to say the injury date, hour, place, and location are unknown, and the section stating describe how injury occurred, the events which resulted in injury, now says with objects. David is charged with the murdering Celeste, mutilating her body, and having sex with her before she turned 14 years old. He pled not guilty. Celeste's death certificate was first released back in September, a few weeks after her body was found, dismembered and decomposed. Yeah, thank you, TMZ. Now let's share that death certificate with you guys. My Google Drive. Here we go. Celeste and her death certificate. Here we go. Okay. So let's see if you guys can read this. Oh, I'm not even sharing. Okay. Thank you guys for joining this channel. We're trying to get all the details on Celeste Rivas Hernandez for you guys. Here is her death certificate, okay? County of Los Angeles and Celeste Abigail. I can't get over her middle name. It's so pretty. Celeste Abigail Hernandez, Salvadorian American, Hispanic, 9/8. Her date of death has been, date of death is 9/8, but in fact, that's when she was found. Okay. And her birthday is September 7th, Virgo queen, Celeste, 9/7. All right. So middle school, you guys, middle school, just think about it. Just think about it. This little girl was in middle school. Middle school. Put yourself in that shoes. At 12 or 13, at 12, I remember still playing with Barbie dolls at that age. This is a new generation. It's totally different, you know. We got to protect these children. We really do. It starts in the homes. It starts with the families. It starts with the parents. They should have done their job as well and protected her, you know, and they have to live with that guilt for the rest of their lives now, you know. So as far as being, let's take a look here. As far as death, okay. So it was first deferred and then it was changed to multiple penetrating injuries. Yes. And then it changed from pending investigation to homicide. Yes, 100%. Now, where on here does it say if she was pregnant? Oh, unknown. But what line is that? Hold on, because that has to correspond to a box here, right? So here, I'm enlarging it for us. Okay. So where exactly does it say? Oh, here. Line 115, line 115A, right? Okay, so then it said no. All right, so it was amended. Here's the amendment to that. Then 115. Wait, what are they talking about? I don't see that. I don't see what they're seeing, but let's look. We have to make sure, right? Maybe I'm just like not able. 113A, descendant pregnant. It says no, right? 113, 111, 112, 113. Is that 113A? Okay, so then if you, oh, here, unknown. They're right. They're absolutely right, but I had to do the check and balances for myself. Holy shit. Let's continue. So now we're going to take a look at his here. Here's the fucking document. This shit is out of control, yo. All right, so let's go down. We are going to start. Okay. I'm skipping that. I'm skipping that. I'm going straight to the meats and potatoes of it. Okay. So we know she was found on the 8th. Okay, let's continue. And on the 16th, we identified her body, her remains, right? Now, I want to get to the part where it talks about what David and all he did, right? What is the evidence? What do you have here? This was disturbing, actually. Just let me skim through it real quick. This is disturbing. He paid, d4vd paid a junior high school student $1,000 to give Celeste a brand new phone so he can keep in contact with her. That is evidence of grooming. Okay, he was like grooming her, right? Controlling her, manipulating her. And I just learned earlier today that actually Celeste's family removed, took her phone away. So this was not the consequence, but this was the result of them taking her phone away. All right. So I just want to share that. They have text exchanges here. I did a screenshot of this. yesterday, but here's where it states that there's text exchanges basically stating that she could have had an abortion or used Plan B, um, which I think now you can get those over the counter. Um, I do remember, like, back in the day, like, you had to go to um, a Planned Parenthood or one of those and, like, fill out an application just to get a Plan B. I think the laws changed where they're over the counter. You can get them over the counter now. I'm not 100% sure, but they have actual text messages talking about this. So there's evidence here of a sexual relationship. They have that on him too. Bruh, he's done. He's cooked. He's so fucking cooked. I don't know. I'm just like curious. I'm very curious. I want to know how the defense is going to play this out. That's interesting, right? Okay, here we go. Here's where I wanted to share. Let me make sure you guys are seeing this. Yeah, perfect. All right, it says that on April 23rd, right, we have to, like, everyone that's been researching this case, creating their own timelines and stuff. Every time a document is released like this or any new information, we have to, like, re-edit our timeline now, right? So now we know that on the 23rd of April, David is the likely date of the victim's death. Death is what prosecution is stating. That's when all of her cellular activity ceased. So that's 100%. I mean, it could be that I'm playing devil's advocate here, right? Let me play devil's advocate here. It could be that, or now what cell phone are you looking into? Because she may have had another phone, right? She could have had another phone. So we don't know that. Next thing. Then it says the night prior. So on the 22nd of April, the defendant, d4vd, and Celeste engaged in a lengthy argument described in detail in their text messages. So they were going at it. They were going back and forth, right? With whatever fight. It was brewing. It was brewing, okay? The messages reveal the victim's jealousy over defendant's relationships with other women. It's possible. I mean, like, you see him everywhere. Prior to April, you see him on a stream with Cat's Eye. You see him on streams with other creators, and in these parties also. We don't know we don't know if he was dating other women. So it's possible that Celeste, discovered messages, or she saw something, and that's when it all began. I think right here they were fighting over this, and d4vd led her to believe they had a future together. 100%. I mean, there's even photo evidence of this, because you see him whining and dining her. You see pictures of Celeste with a ring. You see his name tattooed on her ring finger. You see him buying her things. He bought her a purse. Like, come on, he basically groomed her. Why? So she is out here thinking, like, wow, I have a future with him. Like, this is a little girl. She's 14 years old. She's thinking that he's going to be it, for the rest of her life, right? So, yeah, that's damning evidence right here. Their text messages are so damning. She became extremely upset and threatened to disclose damaging information about her relationship with d4vd to end his career and destroy his life. Now, this right here, like, honestly, if it's something that will destroy your career, then maybe you should not be in the position you are, right? Maybe if, like, for example, not to get political, but the president, if they have shit on the president that could destroy his career, then maybe you shouldn't be the fucking president, right? So she had shit on him that could destroy his career. I imagine the gross shit she may have had on this guy. I mean, that's evident by the child porn they discovered in his phone, right? So the defendant's first studio album was due to release in April 25, 25. And you guys, I want to play that interview that he had with a channel. It's called Songwriters. The name of the channel, it's called here, Songwriter Universe magazine. So he had an interview with them April 25th. So we're going to fucking listen to that interview and we're going to hear his voice and see how he sounds. Like, it is just so crazy. It's wild to me that he's out there having interviews after you allegedly committed this heinous crime. So, yes, I want to hear that interview and hear how the fuck, like, are you fucking nuts right now, right? Like, innocent until proven guilty, but it is what it is. We have to uncover it all, right? Okay, so he had an emerging multi-million dollar career already in progress, right? So dollar signs, like, come on, you're 14 years old. You got this, you can't even blame the victim. You can't even blame Celeste, right? He also had multiple product endorsements, which were highly profitable, right? Next page. Oh, shit. Here we go. Okay, now we're going to get down to the nitty gritty stuff here. Okay. So at approximately 8:40 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, defendant sent an Uber to transport the victim from her Lake Elsinore home to his residence. They communicated before and during her Uber ride. This is a long Uber ride. I'm not sure. I know it's over an hour. And I just thought of this, like, when I heard this or read this, I'm thinking, like, dude, you had a whole hour to change your mind. He had a whole hour to change his mind and stop this from happening and not commit this crime. He had time to stop and think, but instead, shit got worse. So they communicated before and during this whole ride, which dropped her off at his Hollywood Hills home at around 10:10 p.m. Around 10:30 p.m., the defendant sent text messages to the victim inquiring where she was. This is the shit that fucking, number one, red flag, right? I mean, like, there's many, but here, red flag, this is proof of, if he did it allegedly, you are covering. You are covering. You are covering because you fucked up. Okay. This also makes me think about the Idaho 4. It makes me think about those calls to Jack DeCore. It makes me think about that 17-minute call and when Jack didn't answer the phone. Hi, cats. No, it's a true crime channel, but yeah, I'm into the stars and stuff too. Yeah. So, bro, what I'm saying is that this is premeditated 100%. The people contend this was part of defendant's premeditated plan to cover up the murder, as she was already dead by this time. I don't know, within 20 minutes, maybe. How long, I have to Google search this. How long would it take for a person to bleed out from a punctured liver, right? Was it her liver? Yeah. Or lung. Was it her liver? Right. Now I got to read it again. What? It is 2 hours. Google's telling me 2 hours. Google's saying that a moderate laceration to the liver could be fatal in 2 hours or so. So, I'm not really sure because this alludes to the fact that it took half hour according to this document, right? That's what it's saying, 30 minutes. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, 20 minutes. It's saying 20 minutes because look, she got there at 10. Hang on. Yeah, she got there at 10:10. Then they're saying at 10:30 he sent text messages to her. And then they're saying that it was his plan, premeditated plan to cover up the murder as she was already dead by this time. So she got dropped off at 10:10, but by 10:30, you think she would have bled out and died in 20 minutes? I don't know. I question that. Hi, Typical. What's that? I don't know, guys. Like, what do you think? Within 20 minutes, typically Unique? What do you think? Because she got dropped off at 10:10 p.m. Then they're saying that at 10:30, he sent text messages to her, like to try and cover up, like asking where she was, like, where you at, boo? Yeah, sure, whatever. But and then they're saying she was already dead by this time. So within 20 minutes, according to the autopsy report, there was a stab to one of her organs. I don't want to misspeak. I know it's either the liver or the lung. And from that, I think she bled out. That caused her death, honestly. But anyway, let's continue moving on. Knowing he had to silence the victim before she ruined his music career as she had threatened him. Very soon after her arrival at his home, defendant stabbed the victim to death multiple times and stood by while she bled out. The fact that they're saying stood by. Oh, I can call you. Okay, thank you. 20-minute murder. That's what I'm saying. Because like she was dropped off at 10:10, and there's a text message going out to Celeste at 10:30 p.m. asking where you at. And they're trying to stay, he's simply covering up. He's simply covering it up. So I don't know. But typically the fact, excuse me, typically the fact that here it says, wait, hang on. This part, it says, and he stood by while she bled out. Do they have footage? Like, is there footage of this? Because what do you mean she stood by? How do you know he stood by? Like, you have video of this? I'm just saying. At no time did he call law enforcement or 911 or take her to emergency room to attempt to save her life. I mean, honestly, like this could have been avoided to the very end. To the very end, it could have been avoided. It's so sad. Despite knowing her family, here, one sec, I need to like let my dogs out. 1 second. Okay, so sorry. Despite knowing she was dead and her family was trying to find her, the evidence will show that defendant lied. So that's another thing they have on him, bro. It's like he was aware that she was missing. They have so much shit on this guy. Oh my God. In fact, the defendant drove to Santa Barbara County immediately after the victim died, attempting to dispose of her property. No fucking way, you guys. No way. No way. They have evidence of this. Then they're saying that at 11:30 on the night of, on 11:30 p.m. on April 23rd, he drove away from his home as he texted and called her phone asking where she was. Okay, so he texted her at 10:30. So he has a text out to Celeste at 10:30 asking where you at. But this is all the while he had an Uber bringing her to his house, right? Then he's asking, where are you at 10:30? And then at 11:30, he calls her asking her where she was again, an hour later. And this is an hour later, he drove away from his home. Okay, so they have his cell phone data. They have his cell phone data because they already know where he was at this time. Man, if it's in the garage, maybe. Oh my God. Could you imagine her pregnant? If he had recorded this, that's crazy. And then it says, da, da, da. Again, these were acts calculated and planned to set up his defense within a very short timeline after the victim's vicious murder. Defendant drove his Tesla north on the 101 freeway to San Marcos Pass Road near Lake Cachuma in Santa Barbara County. He returned home early the following morning. Oh shit. So he leaves at 11:30 p.m. He leaves his house, right? And he doesn't come back until the following morning on the 24th. He was out all night. He was out all night. Okay. And we know that the 24th would later be his album release party. Oh, before going to a radio interview for the release, this is the interview we're going to play. We're going to play this interview. My bad, guys. Okay, yeah, so we're going to play this interview. This was on the 24th. I should correct some details. I have the interview listed on the 25th when in fact is the 24th. So I'm going to go ahead and correct that. So, okay, so we have this radio interview. I'm going to play that after we're done with this because how creepy it is to think about you're after you committed this crime, everything's okay. Everything's okay. You're going to drop an album. Like how fucking fortunate that is, right? You're so fortunate, aren't you? And then he sent 2 additional texts to the victim's phone that day on the 24th. The following day, he texted her and it obviously went unanswered because she was already dead. Then on the 26th, he never after that day, he never tried contacting her again. And that's also that's a big red flag. That's huge. Fuck, that's huge. Do we have that on the Idaho 4 case? Do we have that on the Idaho 4 case where perhaps someone that knew what was going to happen stopped reaching out? I mean, I guess we don't know. We don't have any of the data. That's the problem here, right? That's the problem with the Idaho 4 because we don't have the data. We don't have it, right? Okay, let's continue. Let's see what else. Then I want to talk about the part where he ordered a shovel, which is coming up here. Oh, like all of this evidence, that's crazy. All right. So then it says the defendant subsequently purchased tools to carry out his plot to dismember and dispose of the victim's body. On April 24th, defendant ordered a shovel from Home Depot that was delivered to his home from Postmates. I don't know. Like, this makes me think like I'm getting like is this staged? Like, was this staged or is he just stupid? Is he just like dumb? You get what I'm saying? Because like you have to be really dumb to do something like this, or perhaps you were framed. Like, were you in fact framed? Because it's actually better if you were framed than be dumb as hell to fucking do some shit like this. On May 1st, he ordered a subsequently Amazon delivered two to his home, 2 chainsaws. Now, why would you order 2? Why would you order 2? That's giving off like, this is giving off like you ordered it because you're getting help, right? I don't know. To me, like he's getting help. That's crazy. On May 5th, the defendant ordered and Amazon subsequently delivered a body bag, a heavy-duty laundry bag, and a blue inflatable pool to his home. So now this makes sense because everyone was wondering, why is there blue plastic on Celeste's body? They were found on her legs and I think on her arm. There was like remnants of a blue plastic, and now it makes sense. It looks like he tried a trigger warning. He tried dismembering her body while she was in the pool. So it's possible that the remnants of it, you know, came on her. Like, how this is the most gross scene I can't even imagine. Now, he made the purchases under the fake name Victoria Mendez on May 8th, and then he returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County, leaving his home at around 11:30 p.m. So adding on to our timeline, now on May 8th, what we have is my dogs are being bad. Inside. Okay, I am so sorry, you guys. Okay, so on May 8th, adding that to the timeline here, he returned to the same area in Santa Barbara County. Oh, fuck. So whatever he dropped off there on the 24th, 23rd or 24th, 23rd, because he was out all day on the 23rd in Santa Barbara County, right? So whatever he dropped there, he went back. He returned on the 8th, leaving his home at 11:30 p.m. Then he returned to the area again on May 31st. Boy. Oh, snap, you guys. This is an isolated site off of this highway where the victim's IDs were discovered in January. Holy fuck. All along, I'm like, fucking, all along, I'm like, fuck, you know, LAPD, do your goddamn job, you know, all over YouTube and whatever on a podcast. I'm like, LAPD, do your fucking goddamn job. And all the while, they were collecting evidence. They were collecting evidence against David, you guys. Additionally, on July 7th, the defendant ordered, now this was later on, July 7th. Okay, now on this day, he ordered a burn cage, okay, which wasn't used for all intents and purposes, the burn cage wasn't used. What was he thinking? What was he thinking from May to July? Because, you know, like, how to get rid of her body. This whole, he's like, fuck, she's, can you imagine the smell? And also the smell, like, he had to get rid of her. You know what I mean? So, I mean, oh my God. Like, I don't understand if you're in the desert somewhere with a burn cage, you're in the desert, you're somewhere in fucking Montana or Idaho. This motherfucker bought a burn cage to LA, a fucking city, thinking if he was just gonna fucking burn her body. No, baby, no. Oh man, that's so sick. All right, so we already went over the autopsy report, so I'm not even going to. We know that her fingers have not been recovered, which is her ring finger with David's tattoo across it and her pinky finger, I'm sorry. So, I mean, intentionally cut it off or, oh my God, I don't know. And then they haven't been recovered. D4vd then placed her head and torso into the cadaver bag. I just can't. Like, wow. This was a little girl and she thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with you, and this is what you do to her. No. He placed her limbs into a garbage bag, which he deposited into his front trunk, laying the cadaver bags on top. So now we know he had a garbage bag with just her limbs. And then we have the torso in a cadaver bag. And then we have her head in the other. For several weeks or months, possibly, defendant left the victim's body to decompose inside his Tesla. He lied to his friends, business associates, and others who noticed the strong smell of decay in and around his home. So others noticed. Excuse me. So before leaving on his concert tour at the end of July, he parked his Tesla on the street around the corner from his home. Then we have the search warrant. We saw that happening. And then here, the DNA stuff. They said here that on September 16th, 2025, inside the garage, detectives discovered evidence consistent with the dismemberment of the victim's body in the inflatable pool, which is why I mentioned that, which contained multiple linear cuts, which is how that ended up on her body, right? And it tested positive for blood. Fuck. DNA analysis determines that various samples matched the victim's unique genetic profile. Now, I'm interested to see if there's somehow any DNA of his obviously mixed with Celeste DNA, right? So I'm curious about that. Then we have all of this. Oh God, the evidence. Let me take some water. All right, so here's what the prosecution, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play, let's go back to the evidence, okay? I'm going to play that video that I found. Give me 1 second. Hi, August, thank you for joining. Right now I want to share that audio. Give me 1 second. Now, this interview was conducted on April 24th. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, April 24th. Okay, it was posted on the 25th. but it was actually done on the 24th, which is the day after it is said that Celeste passed away. And let's listen to it. Okay.
All right. I read that you're from Houston, Texas.
Okay, so it's 11 minutes long. Okay, we're just gonna listen to it. Let me know in chat if you guys can hear it, okay? Thank you for joining this live. Hit the like button, subscribe if you like this
content. And I know you played a lot of instruments and keyboards and everything. So how did you get started with music and playing keyboards and writing songs?
Basically, it was a very, very unorthodox way of getting into music. I was never very musically inclined my entire life. I never really focused on music or had a drive or a passion for music. I was in church choir for a little bit when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and then my mom put me in piano lessons for about like a week, and I quit after that. And then fast forward to when I was in Houston. I moved to Houston when I was 13 years old, 2012, from Queens, New York originally. And I was in middle school band. I played the flute in 7th grade.
Right.
And then after that, I got homeschooled. So I didn't really have any musicality after that. It was mostly just video games and doing schoolwork. But then I wanted to be a streamer. I wanted to be a YouTuber and a content creator. So I was playing a lot of video games and I was making a lot of montages and putting them up on the internet, on different places, different platforms. And I was using other artists' music in my little videos, but then we get copyright strikes, so I couldn't make any money off of it. And after I noticed I couldn't make money, I told my mom, and I was like, I can't make any money.
This story of his, it's like I've heard it so many times. Every interview, it's the same fucking story. It's scripted. It's like notice his energy sounds really down. Notice his energy is like super down in this interview. He's not like as up. His energy is not like up there and bright and that I've heard in other interviews. So I'm just making that comparison.
What do I do? And she was like, make your own music for the videos.
Right.
I was like, okay. So I looked up the next day how to make music on iPhone, and this app called BandLab comes up, and I'm like, okay, let's start here. So I started learning how to engineer and program my voice and how to make beats and kind of produce, and how to sing too. And I started making songs that very next day, and then I released my first song a month later, and put that in a video in one of my Fortnite videos. And it just took off. It took off. My friends were using it in their videos, and everybody on the internet was like, yo, this is royalty-free music. We can use it and make money off of it. Let's use all of David's songs. So, yeah, basically, it all came from a video game.
Now, was that first song Romantic Homicide?
No, the first song it's called Runaway.
Okay.
And then, Runaway.
Now, I know I saw a cool documentary video, Spotify video of you and you're being in Houston with your family, and I saw you like gaming, and then I saw you doing flips. Like, are you into gymnastics and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did gymnastics for about 5 years. I did parkour for 4 years.
All right. And so, okay, and who are some of your favorite music artists who inspired you?
Billie Eilish, Nirvana, the Smiths, Michael Jackson, of course, Deftones, the band Deftones.
Oh, I hate that he likes Deftones. Like, you're such a wannabe. Shut the fuck up. You don't like Deftones. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, those are a couple of mine.
All right. Now, when did you put out Romantic Homicide? And is it true that you wrote and recorded the song on your iPhone?
Yeah, I recorded Romantic Homicide straight off my phone. And it took me 30 minutes to write too. It was very, very, I was like in a flow state when I wrote that song. It was just like I wanted to kind of convey the emotion of sadness and grieving. And I was like, I just like tapped into this emotion that I hadn't done before. And it came super easy to me. I released that song around July, August 2022. I posted it on TikTok like a night before I wanted to put it out, and it blew up.
Facts. Deftones is from like the fucking 90s and 2000s. B, what you talking about? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. You don't know Chino. You ain't low.
Instantly, it was crazy.
I'm just curious, you know, how do you get such a good quality music recording just on your iPhone?
I use just earbuds, just the normal wired headphones.
Right.
And then I use a lot of I have a lot of presets and I know how to mess with EQ and
his energy, I'm telling you, sounds super low. Like his energy is super low in this interview. Obviously, he's been up all fucking night. He had just got home. If we go back to his timeline, he's been up all night, you know? And I don't know. I have to do my research on these people because it sounds kind of this whole interview being planned specifically on the night after all of this happened. It's a little suspicious to me.
Pressures and stuff like that to make it sound good on the phone.
Cool.
It sounds pretty professional,
yeah. Then after that, you had a follow-up hit with your ballad "Here With Me." Can you talk about writing that song?
That song is even more special because I wrote that song kind of after watching the Disney movie Up. When I make music and I draw inspiration from different things, I kind of get inspired.
I'm telling you, this fucking interview is scripted. It is scripted as fucking hell, and I've heard it so many times. It's insane. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I can't believe it. Thank you for joining Quantum Flow. I've never seen you here comment on here before, but absolutely, I like this comments, the stuff he did, and on top of that, how he tried covering up. Like, you're not smart. You're not fucking smart. I mean, innocent until proven guilty, but reading this evidence, holy shit.
By movies, television, you know, just life things in general. But for that song in particular, it was the Disney movie. So I was just looking at Carl and Ellie's relationship, and when Ellie dies and Carl travels to Paradise Falls, I was like, I need to encapsulate this movie into a song.
And when Ellie dies, listen to him. It just sounds so sick because this is when it said the day after Celeste was unalived. So the fact he's talking about this movie Up and when Elsie dies, it's just sick.
I instantly just got into the closet and I was working on that song and just thinking about that entire movie in the process. So,
all right. Now, David, what is your general songwriting process? Do you usually start with the track or beat, or do you come up with the poetry and lyrics and the melody first? Or how do you like to write songs?
It's definitely with the track and the beat first because I'm one of those artists that like to let the instrumentals speak to me. Like I like to let the pianos talk.
Right.
The guitars talk before I say anything because the instruments have so much more to say than we do sometimes. And when the production is lacking, then the lyrics are lacking. So I like to make sure I get everything in order with the actual structure of the song, how it sounds before I sing on it. And then afterwards, I kind of get the melodies out of freestyle and let everything kind of conjure up lyrically.
Cool. Now you've signed with Dark Room and Interscope Records. So how did you connect with them and decide to sign with them?
It was a crazy hectic process actually. When I released Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, I was getting emails from a bunch of different labels and I was like talking to my parents about it at the time. I was like 17, 16.
Right.
And they all thought it was all scams. They were like, yo, you can't do that. This is a scam. Don't go to LA. Da, 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 da. I was like, wait, let's take some Zoom meetings. So we hopped on a Zoom call and then met the team, fell in love with the team, and then the rest is history.
All right. Now, before your album, which we're going to talk about in a minute, you released 2 EPs, Petals to Thorns and The Lost Petals. So can you talk about those 2 EPs?
Yeah, those 2 EPs are kind of like the staples of my beginning in my career, basically kind of showcasing what kind of music I make, what kind of artistic vision I have, what the visuals are looking like, what the aesthetic is, what the sonic identity is, and kind of just like introducing myself to the world in a way.
Right.
So those 2 projects are kind of like the 2 foundations of what this album is going to be, and it kind of gives you like an insight to the bedroom pop side. I got some post-punk songs, I got some rock songs, I got some pop songs. So it's just like those 2 introductory projects that I have right now to my sound.
Cool. Now, in April, you're going to be releasing your first full album, Withering. And so can you talk about the making of this album?
The making of this album was kind of crazy too. I mean, I used to do a lot of different projects with different producers, and I went through maybe 5 or 6 different versions of this album. But the most recent version, the one that I'm very happy with, the one that we're gonna put out, I made in a total of 4 weeks. So I went to London for 2 weeks with 3 of my friends, and we just made a song every day for 2 weeks in London. I love London because of like the glue.
He took her to London. He took her to London. Okay. Now, here's what he's saying. He said this album Withered, which by the way, Withered was released. Okay. So again, timeline. The night Celeste went to his house was April 23rd. He had an album release party on the 24th. This interview is on the 24th. Album release party that night, this night, right? Then fast forward to the 25th, right? 25th was when his album dropped, okay? Withered. And here he talks about how he made the project, right? And he said here that it took him a total of 4 weeks, right? So now we're talking, he started making this sometime in what? March, right? He went to London with 3 of his friends. We know Celeste was one of them. Who were the other 2? If you can guess. And we made a song every day for 2 weeks. And we made a song. I wonder if he used Celeste for his songs. I wonder if he used her voice. I know that she's in one of his songs just talking, but you know, I wonder if he sang for her. Yeah, let's continue. Wow, okay, let's hear.
Gloomy aesthetic and the gloomy just like vibe and environment that London has. Like there's barely any sun there, and I love that because the music I make is really sad. And then so 2 weeks I made a song every day, came out with half the album, and then I went back to Houston for another 2 weeks, and I made the rest of the project on my phone just off of beats that people sent me and with some things that I make. And yeah, I just spent 2 weeks in a different area trying to get myself in a different mindset, and then I came back to Houston, put myself in the same mindset again, and made everything by myself. So I wanted to see what I looked like, or how I worked with different people and how I worked with myself, you know?
Cool. Now,
Interesting.
You've already released 2 singles or 2 songs from your upcoming album, One More Dance and Where to Go Wrong. So can you talk about those songs?
Yeah, Where to Go Wrong is kind of like that perfect kind of segue into the new era. It's kind of like my fans know that sound for me the most. And that's the sound that I kind of emerged with on BandLab. It's like that classic David indie rock kind of bedroom pop sound. And I want to take that, bring that back after being away from it for so long. I did a couple of songs last year for different TV shows and things like that that have a different kind of sonic or sound. And I wanted to kind of bring that old sound, that old, fresh David sound back with Where Did It Go Wrong? And then with One More Dance, it's kind of like that perfect transition into something much more evolved and much more mature, and a sound that I haven't explored yet really, which is kind of like that super structured out, very intentional song, which is what the contrast of those 2 songs are.
Cool. I've been listening to your new album, and I like the songs. Well, I like a bunch of the songs, but 2 that I really like are Atomic Land and Somewhere in the Middle.
I don't know if it's the interviewer, but I'm telling you, he doesn't sound right. He sounds very down, super down.
So can you talk a little about writing those 2 songs?
Yeah, Atomic Land is one of the ones we made in London. I love that song so much. It was kind of like the craziest kind of process to make that song. We have it all documented on video too. We're just literally messing around with a bunch of different instruments in the studio. And my friend Scott was playing this this melody on an organ, and I kind of just started riffing over the organ. And I wanted it to feel like it was a song from a.
It sounds like he's reading off paper. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be fucking for real. It sounds like he's reading off paper. Like They were like, here, these are the questions this guy's going to ask you, and here's the answers. And just all you have to do is read off this paper.
Theme park, like the melodies you hear, it's very like carnival, like
Uh-huh.
Ferris wheels, carousels, all that kind of stuff. So kind of wanted that song to feel like it was in a theme park in a way. And then somewhere in the middle was a song that I made for my love of the Cranberries. There's this band called the Cranberries that has a very big sound, and I love them and take inspiration from them so much. So I wanted to
I'm going to need him to stop liking all the artists I like.
kind of like bring that into my world too. And somewhere in the middle is encapsulating that and embodying the spirit of the Cranberries.
Cool. Now, besides we talked about 4 of your songs on your new album. What are your other favorite songs on your upcoming album?
Ooh, my other favorite songs would probably be "Friend Again." I love "Friend Again" so much because of like the kind of garage band chorus it has, mixed with kind of the slower, somber R&B like verses. And what else do I love Afterlife. Afterlife was one of my favorite songs of all time. That song is like one of my best writing pieces ever. So poetic. I love the melodies I have on there and just like the overarching orchestral themes too. It's just like a perfect dramatic song.
All right. David, I want to ask you about your live show and touring. Can you talk about your live shows and your band? And I also read that you've toured with SZA already. So what's your live show like?
My live show is kind of a mixture of a rock show, a pop show, a little bit of like some somber indie rock. It's kind of like it makes you realize how many ranges in music and how eclectic and how much music I really have. It kind of gives a moment for each side of my kind of artist history to shine. Especially when I was on the SZA tour, you see a lot of people listening to like my lesser known songs, and then when I get to the big songs, you're like, oh my God, that's the guy that sang that. That's the guy that sang that. So it's kind of like my live show is a mixture of a vibe that anybody can kind of rock with and resonate with at the same time. And yeah, talking with SZA was amazing. I'm so honored and blessed to have her. She co-signed me very early on and was a fan of her music for a minute. So it was super awesome to kind of just to get on the road with her too.
Right. All right.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that. I will link that in the description box. Dude, yes. Damn, saying Afterlife is his favorite is crazy. It's fucking sick because that's the show he did in Houston where he's fucking dying and breaking down on stage. I think that song is for Celeste. Well, he made so many songs for her, Celeste. That's literally the thing here. There's a song titled "Oh Celeste." Is he sick or is he not sick? Like, what the fuck is happening here, you guys? Okay, we're gonna get to the evidence. Hang on. And SZA too. I know that's so fucking wild. Okay, so let's get to the evidence. 1 second. All right, so here we go. So we're down to the last page here. It's so sick. We needed just like a little break from it all. And now, we're gonna get back to some really gruesome details here, you guys. So evidence. The people will present the following evidence at the preliminary hearing, including but not limited to. Let me remove my Holy shit, my bad. Holy fuck. All right, I'm back. Shit. I wanted to go over this so quickly, but here, let's do this again. So I read out the disgusting part already. The CSAM that they found, right? That's evidence that he had an ongoing relationship with her when she was 13, 14 years old, which is fucking disgusting. The numerous text messages between them, which is evidence to the fact that not only she had a sexual relationship with him, there was pregnancy, there was an abortion, and there was use of Plan B. These messages through March prove through March, but I want to know when it started. I want to know like the time frame they have all of these messages, right? From what date to what date. Prove defendant continued to manipulate the victim as she messaged, all we do is have sex and just hang out, man. I want more than that for myself. That's fucking sad. She wanted more than that. And he just wanted to be like, fuck. Like, honestly, you could have just, why did he, I have no words. The defendant's cellular activity and communications derived from the defendant's iPhone and Tesla, from both. Oh shit, they have both. Which demonstrate defendant's activities. Now, what I was saying here was that they only have his phone activity and Tesla activity for these dates. According to this is from the 22nd through the 24th. But then down here in this sentence, so here, they only have his cell phone activity for this period, which I think that's why, like, that's not enough, right? And then they also state that they also have it for the trip he made to Santa Barbara in May. So they have it for these dates plus the trip in May, but that's not enough. Like, they should have more than this. Is why are they given this time frame is my question. Because it's only related to Celeste. Is that why? Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Shouldn't they have a pattern of this? And in order to show a pattern, you're gonna need more than 2 days. You get what I mean? Anyway, the surveillance video of the defendant driving his Tesla on the 29th. So Steve posted that video. I'm going to play it. I'm going to share it. You can't see shit, but I kind of see something. I want to get your guys' take on it, okay? I'm going to go to that next. So they have this. I'm sure the law enforcement has a clear, footage, not the one, Steve posted, but let's continue. The DNA evidence developed from the bloodstains collected from the garage, which match the victims. So that's where you can tie that. This is where Celeste died. This is where the crime occurred, right? They also have the receipts, baby. They have the Amazon purchases, the freaking shovel, Postmates delivery. They have the chainsaws, the body bags. They have fucking receipts, you guys. Yeah, here it is. Delivery to Postmates, April 24th. Yeah, possibly before or after that interview we just played on the 24th is where his package arrived. Crazy, huh? Crazy to think about it like that, but Uber records shows the defendant's transactions where he ordered an Uber to pick up Celeste at her home and transport her on that day, on the 23rd. So meanwhile, he's like, you're texting Celeste, where you at? Calling Celeste, where you at? Motherfucker, you ordered the Uber. What are you talking about here? You order the fucking Uber. What you mean where I'm at? this motherfucker. Proof of defendant's lucrative career as a singer and songwriter prior to the 23rd. They have proof of his lucrative career, right? Then he had that album release party on the 24th, right? Like all these events happening, which might have been a trigger. Like let's start right there. The pregnancy was real. I believe it. I believe she may have been pregnant. Did you, Quantum, were you here at the beginning of the show where I played that video clip? Because she fucking legit looks pregnant, okay? What I was trying to say is that, you know what? That could have been a trigger. This whole event happening and Celeste, like thinking about her state of mind, right? Like let's think about her state of mind where she's like, okay, like I'm gonna get married. Like she had a ring. She had his name tattooed, you know, she was possibly pregnant. You know, she texted him, I want more for myself. Like, you know, I want a future. Like, it sounds like she actually thought she would have a future with him. Poor Celeste, right? And I lost my train of thought. I'm not even fucking high. Yeah, oh, here. I remember where I was going with this. His album release party. That possibly was, yeah, she threatened to expose him 100%. But when I'm trying to say that might have triggered, like, it could have been something like she was triggered, like, wow, he really is fucking done with me. He's not inviting me to this release party. He's not making me a part of his, you know, I'm not going on tour with him. Because remember, he goes on tour in July. So all of this could have been brewing. Like she's pissed, you know, I can't go on tour with him. You know, shit like that. You're 14 years old, you're young. Like she's not even thinking of her school or her studies. She's not thinking of like, oh fuck, I gotta go to school and graduate. Like she really thought she was gonna live this lifestyle. You know what I mean? And he may have shown her that. He may have alluded to that, or, you know, shown her a piece of like, okay, yeah, you're gonna be my girl, this and that, or showed her, you know, it's part of the grooming shit, you know, it's all part of the grooming. And this night with the album release party, what I'm trying to say is that fuck, that's when she might have realized, you know what, he's fucking done with me. Yes, like you said, I'm gonna expose this motherfucker. I'm gonna fucking expose the shit out of him. Oh, you're done with me? Oh, so you're done with me. You're done with me after you said all the shit and promised me the world. You're done with me and think you can go out and make a name for yourself after all the fucking shit you did? No, baby. And I think that fucking triggered the whole fucking shit. And he said, you know what? I gotta handle this. And he got her an Uber to his house. And it's not speculation. This part is not speculation. There's evidence of this. He was texting other girls, and when she was getting old, she wanted more. He didn't want her anymore, so she threatened to expose him. Then on the 23rd, he faked wanting to make up with her. That's wild. Well, I believe that. I mean, I believe that too. I believe that happened. Oh man, I don't know how the defense is gonna fucking come back with this, how they're gonna answer. I'm interested to see, and we're gonna cover that trial too. So yeah, so basically she threatened to, you know, ruin his lucrative career. And he made songs about killing females, possibly could have been Celeste, that he wanted to unalive. And you're making all this money and getting all this fame off of whose name? Right? text messages between the defendant and the victim on the 22nd and 23rd, where the victim threatened to expose his and destroy his career. They have that. They have all of that, and that's it for that. This has been postponed. The preliminary hearing where they hear out all the evidence and they bring it before the judge has been postponed to the 26th. So we're gonna follow that story, but before we go there, let me just go to Twitter. I want to share. I want to share Steve's reaction to. I want to share Steve's reaction and also his video clip that he has. Okay. So Steve Fisher, right? He goes on Twitter because all along we know that Steve Fisher, who is the private investigator for the homeowner of one of the LA properties d4vd rented, he actually obtained footage. He was able to obtain footage of here it is, of the surveillance video that's right outside of the home there in LA. And here is the footage of the Tesla leaving the home. Now, it's a little morbid to think that Celeste's body is in here, right? She's in the front this whole time. Like, just sun. You can tell, like, the sun hits this area, this street, at a certain time, obviously. Let me see the timestamp. Oh, this is right. This is before noon. It's 10:41 Pacific Standard Time here. So what I'm trying to say here is that, yeah, she was sitting in sun. She was sitting in sun, decomposing here. The smell. Yeah, Quantum, amen. He has been putting up, like, I immediately go to his tweets because he shares a lot of information in this case. But hold on, you may know some things I don't know, Quantum. He wrote, but his plan was to kill her as soon as she got to his house. He killed her right away. We know this because 20 minutes. Yeah. I played that. But what I was like questioning earlier, yeah, we saw that text message. We saw that he arrived at 10:10 p.m., right? He arrives at, I wrote it down too. He arrives at 10:10 p.m. and then he texts her at 10:30, where you at? Right? Possibly before or after he did the deed. But if it's before he did the deed, that would only give you 20 minutes. So within the 20 minutes she passed. That I question. I question that part of it 100% because she was in the autopsy report. If we look at the autopsy, she was punctured in a vital organ that it would have taken a while, right, for her to bleed out. It could have taken like 2 hours. I Googled it too. It says she would have bled out in 2 hours. So what do you mean 20 minutes? That part I'm confused about, honestly. I don't know. But anyway, here's the video. Let me know, cuz I don't see, I mean, I see red. I'll tell you what I see. I'll try and pause it. Ready? Now, If I do a screenshot, Command Control 4. Okay, so like if I do a screenshot of that and I pull it up, right? Just to try and zoom in. Whoever's sitting there is super low. He's sitting super low. He knows. I think I'm frozen. I think I'm frozen. I hope my live doesn't fucking shut off. Fuck. Okay, here we go. So Steve is adamant that it's Neo because he sees red. Steve sees red and like the jersey that Neo is wearing the night before. But me personally, it has to be d4vd though, because prosecution already said they have evidence. So I'm thinking, fine, if prosecution's saying they have proof that he moved the car, then it has to be, right? We have to wait and see. They probably have like a clear shot. They may have like a clear shot or a better like software to be able to look at it, but I saw red too. I'm going to show you the picture he posted. So I don't even, honestly, I don't blame Steve because like over here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I see red over here and I see like the white part of the jersey. So I don't blame Steve for wanting to, honestly, whatever can get you closer to justice for Celeste, you have to, right? You have to bring it to the forefront and let law enforcement do their job and let law enforcement vet it, Let me go back and show you the print screen, the screenshot he actually posted, right? So this is the screenshot. And that's what I kind of showed you guys, right? Like right above the window, I see a little red. I don't know. That's what I see too. So I don't even blame him for wanting to get answers. Excuse me. So and he doubled down on it too. He said now that the prosecution has released a briefing for the preliminary hearing in the d4vd case, we are releasing the surveillance footage of the Tesla being moved on the July 29th. The driver is lighter skinned with long hair and wearing a red jersey. So he doubled down on the shit. So it is what it is. Like, however, I might add that the whole order of two chainsaws, it's a little sus. Right? I don't know. Like, has he done it before where he knows I'm going to need two? Or did he think, oh my God, let me just get two as a backup, or there was another person involved is where I'm getting at, Or his friend left his jacket at his and d4vd thought to wear it to set his friend up in a massive burn cage. That could be a possibility too, honestly. He may, like, it looks like he may have just put on the fucking that jersey on. just for a backup, you think, Matt Skills? The second chainsaw was for a backup? I mean, sure, I guess, you know, but it's kind of suspicious too. And here Steve goes, as stated in the preliminary hearing briefing document filed by prosecutors, David was receiving packages, including the burn cage at the rental house, under the name of Victoria Mendez. Now, what I want to know is, like, who the fuck is Victoria Mendez? Is that just an alias? Like, or is there an actual Victoria Mendez, or is this his account? You know that on Amazon, you can actually like put any name. Like, you know, I usually have like my first name or whatever on the account, but you can put, like, if I wanted to change that name, I could put whatever name I want. So did he order it under his account with that name, or is there another account under this name? I'm curious, right? I'm curious to know about that. So let's continue. Then Steve posted 9 hours ago. I haven't read this. And he went on Jesse Weber in about 20 minutes. Let me play that. Hold on. Let's go to News Nation, youtube.com. Let's see if Steve says something. That way I can give my voice a little break. You know what I'm saying? News Nation. So he was on with Jesse Weber, huh? Okay. So let's look for that. So videos. I don't see it. Playlist. Wait, let me Google. Let me do Weber. What's your name? Jesse Weber. So let's do Jesse Weber. They're like, I'm so confused right now. Like, Law and Crime Network or you in News Nation? Like, where are you, dude? Like, pick a news station. What's today's date? The 30th. I don't see it. Jesse Weber and Steve Fisher. 6 days ago, 5 days ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. I don't see today's News Nation with Jesse Weber. D4vd Jesse Weber. Doing all the fucking searches up in here. 6 days, 5. No, I don't see it. So I don't know what he's talking about. Let's continue with this though. Twitter. All right, so he goes on to say here. He says a couple months ago, let me enlarge this for you guys. There. A couple months ago, we disclosed that d4vd was under investigation by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department and that contact has been made with him by the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department. That was confirmed yesterday and will effectively eliminate any defense that he did not know Celeste stage. I remember this. I reported on that too. I do remember that. He was under investigation, you guys. He was already under investigation. That's why, like, that's why Celeste was one of the counts, one of the charges is murdering a witness to an investigation because of this. So, as we stated, detectives made David Anthony Burke aware of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's age. Again, they told him, even if he said, "Oh shit, I didn't know her age, da da da." I don't know, I'm guessing. Even if he said that, They were told, and they have evidence. They have evidence that he was told. They have evidence that he was told her age, even though he already knew. What is also very troubling is that Celeste was at home in Lake Elsinore on April 23rd. Yes, she was. Why'd you have to fuck with her? Why'd you have to fuck with her? She was home. When David sent an Uber to bring her to the Hollywood Hills, she had been reported missing a full year earlier. So that would have been April 2024. And it was never reported that she was no longer a missing person. So she was reported and she was back home, but they never let them aware, like, hey, she's back home. They never told them. She was not attending school. April 23rd, 2025 was a Wednesday, a school night. She should never have been traveling 80 miles, sorry. So it's over an hour. So 80 miles is what? An hour and a half or so. In an Uber to meet David. Yep, I remember seeing this. Absolutely. We covered that. Thank you, Steve. Here, this is interesting here. He wrote that minors such as Celeste Rivas Hernandez cannot just travel to London without consent. Here are the laws in the UK about minors traveling with an adult that is not their parents. You'll need to show that your parent or guardian consents to your travel and accommodations arrangements. If you do have to apply for a standard visitor's visa, you'll need to identify the adult traveling with you in your visa application. No, honestly, I can speak on this, and it's actually very easy. If she was a part of the tour, no, 100%. If she was a part of the tour, it would have been very easy for her to travel. 100%. Because you have the production companies, doing everything for you. You have the label doing all of your arrangements, booking all your flights. So I'm going to have to disagree with Steve here that no, actually, in fact, it would have been easier, especially for David to get around. Absolutely. Let's see one more thing. I want to make sure that no fucking dropping news, because every time I'm fucking live, some breaking news happens. So I'm just saying, but all right, fine. ABC News. I'm 10 steps ahead of you, baby. We got that covered. We got that covered already. Oh, this one's pretty sad. New photo of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's family. Lawyer says they are shocked by the new allegations. Oh, baby. Oh. She looks like she was like such a little smarty pants. Like she looks like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Rest in peace, and my condolences to the family of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I can't imagine the media wants to put them through the ringer too, you know. It's awful. It's awful. Y'all, I wonder what the heck was going on in her family. Why would make her? We don't know. We can't put ourselves in her shoes, and you know, we cannot. You can try, but no. Everyone has their own special individual experiences in this earth, in this life. We all have our own experiences. Not one case is the same. It's not. So we can speculate as to what was happening. Who knows? Many things could have been happening. But one thing's for sure, she's a victim, and I believe her families are also victims in this, you know, and they're going to have to live with that guilt for the rest of their lives. They will have to live with that guilt because they could have done more to prevent this from happening. So absolutely, they're going to get blamed, and well deserved, right? Well deserved. Amy was cooking, mama. Let me make sure I covered everything I want to go over with you guys today. Oh, actually, I got something. I want to hear what Nancy has to say about this because this shit. Ready? Oh, she's not going live till 6. My bad. But did she go over? Did Nancy already go over? Oh, no, she did. She did. We're going to play that. All right, so let's move on to the next thing here. Ready? Jules and Amy, my loves, how are you today? I hope you're having a good Thursday. And you're getting ready for the weekend. I'm already in weekends mode. I'm not working tomorrow, so I'm off.
Here's how it works.
Okay, you guys.
Bombshell tonight. A star musician, multi-millionaire musician, d4vd, aka David Anthony Burke, watches while Celeste Rivas, 13, a little schoolgirl, 13, bleeds out in a hidden kiddie pool. Bleeds out in a kiddie pool while he stands there and watches. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us. This little girl partially skeletonized, her left eye gone.
We don't know why they wanted to keep it secret for so long.
When I read this, I felt nauseous. I got hot all over because I think of Celeste as that little girl. Repeat. I have just reviewed the People's Brief regarding preliminary evidence in State versus David Anthony Burke. And I've got to tell you, I prosecuted a lot of homicides. I've handled cases where bodies were rendered, all sorts of cases. This is beyond practically anything I've ever seen. Joining me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning, straight out to Joseph Scott Morgan. He is a professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University. He's the author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon. He's the star of a hit podcast series, Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. But most important, he is a death investigator with over 10,000 death scenes under his belt. Did you read this? That's a yes, no. Yes, no. Did you read it?
Yes. I sure did.
Okay, I really don't know where to start, but can we start with he, d4vd, David Anthony Burke, stands by and watches Celeste bleed out in a blue kiddie pool. Remember the other night I was talking to you and I said, you know, what we are learning is that there are tiny fragments, microscopic fragments of blue plastic in her body, in the cuts on her body. And we were talking about, where did that come from? What could it be?
Right.
Now we know that SOB placed this girl to bleed out in a kiddie pool. It's more than I can take in.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're using the term bleed out because let me explain something to you real quick. The injury, which in my opinion, and I think that the ME coroner holds this opinion as well, is the lethal injury here is going to be the liver. Nancy, if you sustain trauma to the liver, I've seen this with stab wounds, gunshot wounds, and motor vehicle accidents. It is not a quick death. This is an agonizing death. The liver is very vascular.
Didn't I fucking just say that? Rewind, go back, replay the shit. I'm not even a fucking expert. I said this shit 20 minutes. What do you mean 20 minutes? She arrived at 10:10. Then he texted at 10:30. She arrived at 10:10. Then he texted her at 10:30. Where are you? And then it says that within those, that she was already dead. How are you already dead in 20 minutes? No, I Googled the shit 2 hours, and here's an expert telling you it would have taken longer. She suffered. Baby girl suffered. She was bleeding out and suffering in pain. So don't fucking tell me no 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
Next to the brain, it is the most vascular organ in the body. And so as she was laying there, having had this happen
Quantum, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you.
to her, where she is attacked with this weapon, and they're not being very specific here. We know it's sharp. Nancy, she would have bled out, or exsanguinated is a fancy term, but bled out into her abdomen. And it's not one of these things like a gunshot wound, all right, to the head or something like that. That's not what we're talking about here. It would have been a slow, agonizing death that she would have gone through. That experience specifically is enough to send a chill up and down your spine.
Trey Lovell, veteran criminal defense attorney, trial lawyer, founder of the Lovett firm, joining us out of this jurisdiction. Now I see why the prosecutor is discussing the death penalty in this case. And yes, d4vd is over 18. That's the cutoff set by the U.S. Supreme Court. The death penalty will apply if it is implemented, if it is handed down by a jury. Trey Lovell, could there be anything more aggravating? That's a term of art to prove the death penalty. The state must prove special circumstances, special aggravating circumstances. According to what the state says, they can prove in a preliminary hearing, David Anthony Burke, stood by and watched this little girl bleed out in a kiddie pool. They got him busted buying on Amazon, for Pete's sake. Idiot. He buys it on Amazon. It can be traced to him. And just for fun, let me throw this in for you, Trey. He used a fake name. He used a different name to buy the kiddie pool. Look, I bought kiddie pools before. I didn't have to use a fake name for it. That's just another element of proof right there. Trey, what do you do with that? A kiddie pool. He watches her, stands there and watches her as she dies. That's cold.
Well, listen, the death penalty is absolutely the most draconian, worst sentencing that we can have. So we're way ahead of ourselves. We need to establish the basic elements here. We need to establish the evidence and ensure, what this guy did. We're at the very beginning. We can't be making judgments at this point. These are egregious facts, but there's a number of things that could have happened that would.
Absolutely. We're trying our best here. We're trying our best to hold judgment here, but this is a nasty work, right? Nasty work. She was a child. And on top of that, you have the sexual, charges on top of that. That's disgusting, and there's evidence of that. So all around, just horrible.
It would mitigate the situation on his end, maybe not on somebody else's. So we're way ahead of ourselves in terms of talking about the death penalty now.
Did you say mitigation?
Look at her. Look at her. Look at that beautiful little baby. That beautiful little baby girl. Oh my God. They took that photo off right away. Let's play the gun.
These are egregious facts, but there's a number of things that could have happened that would mitigate the situation on his end, maybe not on somebody else's. So we're way ahead of ourselves in terms of talking about the death penalty now.
Did you say mitigation?
Look at that cute.
Did you say what? Was he a Cub Scout? What mitigation is there possibly out there that would reduce the fact that the state says in writing, this isn't a courthouse rumor up and down the halls outside the judge's chamber. They put it in writing. They can prove he stood there and watched her, as Joe Scott Morgan says, exsanguinate, bleed out. He watched her die.
These are allegations. Evidence has just started, and we can't get ahead of ourselves.
Right,
The death penalty.
Right, absolutely. Like I get that. Like, how do you have evidence that he watched her bleed out? Like, how that's a tough allegation. We'll see how the defense plays it, right?
Is the most draconian sentencing we can have in California, and we've got to make sure that we meet the elements and we go forward. The death was horrendous, but we need to still tie him to it. There's still defenses they can have. So at this point we can't be judging it. We've seen one side of the evidence, that of the prosecution. The defense is just getting going, and I guarantee you they will be poking holes in the evidence. They will have their alternative theory. We are just at the beginning.
Straight out to Susan Hendricks joining us, investigative reporter and journalist, author of a bestseller, Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murders in Delphi. Susan Hendricks, just the portion about him buying. I mean, we've got Amazon orders out the yin-yang here, technical legal term, but he is busted buying a blue kiddie pool. And I know where the kiddie pool was used. It was hidden in his garage, his downstairs garage in that mansion that he was renting. Let's see a shot of the mansion. Maybe I can get a shot of the basement door. So the blue kiddie pool, the inflatable pool, was in the basement, and that is where she died. That is where she was rendered. My question is, isn't it true the state alleges he bought it on Amazon?
I know, absolutely. And that's why what you said, Nancy, that brief is so key, because to me, it gives us a timeline. It shows us what he bought. You mentioned it, with a fake name. And to me, it says he changed his mind a few times. Out of the gate, buying a shovel. Did he use that? But the kiddie pool.
Yeah, we said that.
Is so horrendous. I wonder what his train of thought was, thinking, I'm going to order this.
We don't know.
And this is so she won't.
We don't know what his train of thought. Okay, so that's the camera. That's the ring footage. That's a camera where the ring footage we just watched that Steve picked up showing his car being moved on July 29th. Here's the camera to that footage right here. And no, we don't know. We do not know what his train of thought was, right? It sounds like he was all over the place and not knowing what to do with her body, it was amateur hour for sure. I mean, he purchased an incinerator, so he was all over the place, and it looks like they have record of him driving to Santa Barbara and back twice in May.
Bleed everywhere. It's horrific. And that's what the DA said, Hoffman. This is a parent's worst nightmare.
There is the shot, Susan. If you can look at your monitor, this is from our friend Harvey Levin over at TMZ.
It's the parents' worst nightmare, 100%. Like growing up, I remember wanting to stay over my friend's house. Always. My parents would never let me stay. I never understood. I'm like, all my friends are always having sleepovers. I can never go to it's always me not being able to go to the sleepovers. No, it's just, you never know until you're older what your family is trying to protect you from.
There is the garage door. Down the side, the bottom level, the back side of the home. Okay, I'm looking at everything you're saying. Another thing that did not escape me to Joseph Scott Morgan, she was identified by her dental records. Mm-hmm. You and I know what that means.
Yeah, and she's in such an advanced state of decomposition, Nancy, and that's critical. Actually, it was as a result, I think, probably to a great degree of the orthodontic work that she had done. Remember.
Have you heard that vaginal estrogen is only for
I don't know what's going on. Sorry. Ads and shit.
This child had braces. All right. Let that sink in just for a second. And because of those braces and the work that had been done, the orthodontic people would have had extensive records on her teeth. And I'm assuming also that they ordered these up pretty quickly. You've got a dentist that's cooperating with the ME in order to get her tied down, get this ID tied down as quickly as.
This video this video here where she goes back to her families after being with David for some time, she even looks pregnant here, honestly.
Possible. And it could be, I don't completely buy it. It could be that maybe from a sampling standpoint, the DNA was degraded. Again, I'm not necessarily buying that, but they went with dental ID here, and that's going to be critical because it's very distinctive. We all have very distinctive teeth, Nancy, and even if you've had orthodontia done, they're still unique to you because we not only look at the teeth where they're visible, we actually look at the root system on X-ray, and we can do examinations relative to that. The forensic odontologist can, and they turn this around apparently pretty quickly because they needed to verify that this was her because you knew that she was missing.
That's why I think they did it, Joe Scott. I think they used dental records because they couldn't wait on DNA. They already knew of Celeste Rivas' existence. They knew she was missing, and they wanted to get that dental match. They wanted to get an ID on the body immediately, and dental records were the fastest way to go. You're absolutely right. Back out to you. Susan Hendricks is joining us. I was just taking a look at all of the things this idiot ordered on Amazon. Hey, does this name ring a bell? Brian Kohberger ordered the murder.
Girl, honestly, yes, that fucking, when I saw that Amazon shit, of course, Brian Kohberger came to mind. But, bro.
Your weapon on Amazon. Let's take a look at Brian Kohberger's K-bar knife that he ordered. That came back.
Nancy fucking came out with the K-bar knife. I'm dead. I am so dead. I am so dead. And it's not the same shit, Nancy. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
To haunt him. He can think about that tactical mistake as he's sitting behind bars for life without parole. Then we've got.
Really? How are you going to equate Celeste case to Brian Kohberger? I fucking can't with you, girl.
Heading on Amazon before Tammy Daybell, the wife, is dead. So you've got, for instance, Kohberger ordering the K-bar knife. You've got Cult Mom Lori Vallow. Does nobody, second verse, same as the first. And you've got D4vd, David Anthony Burke, ordering, I had to make a flow chart. He ordered a body bag. He ordered a heavy-duty laundry bag, a shovel. He ordered that from Home Depot. 2 chainsaws by Amazon.
Like, see, I'm seeing this from a different lens, obviously, after discovering that Brian Kohberger is actually factually innocent, and how she fucking tore him apart. She tore Brian Kohberger apart. So I'm looking at this from a different lens. Like, you see how mainstream media has to fucking, sensationalize, this murder and all of this. Like, let him have his day in court. Let him have, we can speculate all we want, but let him have his day in court, right?
Amazon and a home burn cage. There's more. I'm just throwing you the highlights. He ordered it all on Amazon, and then Ding Dong tried to use a fake name.
Listen, he's 18 years old. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. The last thing he's thinking about is
no, he's not.
He's or not 18 at the time.
Trey Lovell, he's 21. He was 20 at the time Celeste was murdered. And speaking of ages, they met, and that's certainly a euphemism. They met when she was 11, and he gave her, according to these bombshell documents, a secret cell phone so they could text and send naughty pictures back and forth. 11, Trey Lovell. Back to Amazon orders.
Yeah. Yes, listen, he's a young guy.
Like, she doesn't let anyone talk.
It doesn't have the benefit of having lived a while. This is probably something he's obviously never been faced with, and it may have affected the rest of his career and his life, and he acted accordingly. So we can't expect people like this to be dotting their I's and crossing the T's. And obviously, post murder, assuming it's him, he took steps that he thought would try to hide it, but obviously in this day and age, you can't do it. So, that's the problem of youth when you try to commit, allegedly commit a murder like this.
I love the way you said he was young. Guess what level? She was younger, 11 years old when this whole sordid thing began. Back
How many times she's
to
the 11?
the evidence, the orders on Amazon. Back to Susan Hendricks, investigative journalist, joining us from the field. Susan, what all did this idiot order on Amazon?
Yeah, I have a list here too, and you're right. A body bag, guard got involved, said no dating at this point. I'm picturing
Debt into one.
All right, I just want to see what other experts she has on here.
Positive affirmations help.
See if we learned something useful in this investigation. So,
Sparkle cleans everyday messes, and
she went aggressive on the ads, though. She went aggressive. Heavy on the ads. Heavy.
In the criminal justice system. She's the author of Mainlining Philly, Survival, Hope, and Resisting Drug Addiction. The author of Aftershock, How Past Events Shake Up Your Life Today. She's the producer of Utter Nonsense documentary. And you can find her at drgeraldynutter.com. 11 years old. And he is just that visual that Susan Hendricks just conjured up of him scrolling through his phone, finding just the right kiddie pool to watch Celeste bleed out in their hidden basement lair, ordering all of these items, shovel, burn cage, kiddie pool, chainsaws, it goes on.
there is such a disconnect from individuals like Mr. Burke recognizing that the person that was allegedly killed, Celeste, was a human being. There's such a huge detachment. I mean, when you look at the behavior, and I don't, age has nothing to do with this. I don't care if he was 18, 21. That's even scarier. The fact that he was so young, allegedly committing these types of crimes. And it's just so disheartening. So when you look at this, I deal with homicide cases. I deal with extremely violent cases and do risk assessments all the time where somebody unfortunately loses their life. And I work with the perpetrators. And what I can tell you, that's so disturbing for me about this case is the sheer detachment of recognizing humanity. There was no empathy.
Look, it's so cute, so adorable. Yes, 100%. To the fact that you mutilated her body. You mutilated her body.
There's no remorse. He is not looking at this little girl as a human being, let alone a little girl. So it's just, it's so upsetting to have to sit and to read and to take in all of this information. Again, when you're going and you're buying all of these different things, you're buying a burn cage. I mean, it just goes to speak to the depravity of it all and how we're not dealing with somebody with one issue, which could be, a pattern of antisocial behavior. We're dealing with a lot of things, somebody that's
I mean, at the end of the day, if he committed this crime or not, what was done to Celeste, a monster did it. A monster did it, whether it was him or someone else or other people.
Attracted to children, violence, obsession with murder and death, and how you're going to hurt someone, watching someone bleed out. There's so much to this,
right?
From a personality perspective, it's just devastating, Nancy.
You mentioned obsession with murder and death. Dr. Geraldine, I don't know if you've seen the visuals of his PR campaign where he is wearing bloody clothes, selling bloody clothes. Joining us now, Steve Fisher, special guest, missing persons private investigator, search and rescue specialist. the owner of Search Investigations. He was hired by the owner of that Hollywood Hills mansion where d4vd was renting at the time of the murders. And you are the first person to say the words fire cage or burn cage or home incinerator. What did you observe?
We found the burn cage at the house after the search warrant was executed. It was, going back now, you can see it in images from live streams and videos that he took at the house. He didn't seem to have a care in the world that it was there for the friends to see. We found the chainsaw, and several.
So you see this on live streams. I got to keep my eyes out. If you see this on the live stream, that's pretty sick, right? He didn't care. He was so obsessed with that little girl. It shows in his music and his videos. Shaking my head. I agree. I agree. Like, can we agree on that? Can we agree, like, even if he, I don't know if he's innocent or guilty to this crime, but can we agree that he's a fucking freak?
Packages in the name of Victoria Mendez from Amazon, including the burn cage.
Is there a Victoria Mendez?
Not that we have found. It appears just to be an alias he was using.
To Steve Fisher, before I get back to what we learned about her body, specifically why 2 of her fingers were cut off. You know what? Let me just go to Joe Scott right now. Joe Scott Morgan, remember a couple of nights ago that you and I were talking about 2 of her fingers on her left hand were missing, right? Some of the fingers were gone. And why? And they were never found. Never found. The rest of her body found in 2 separate bags, but her fingers were gone. They were amputated. Did you know that one of those fingers was the one she had his, d4vd's, name tattooed on?
Yes, we knew, Nancy. We knew this. Like,
Angel Soft.
Come on, girl. Get with the program, Nancy.
Riverside.
Ads.
Yeah, I have since found that out, but I got to tell you, it's not surprising because that's a specific identifier that could be tied back to her as a person, and she was a person, Nancy, and he's wanting to get rid of that. And I've had cases like this before.
I want to know if they can trace back. They can trace this back to whoever did that tattoo for her. And if possible, they're able to contact contact the tattoo artist, and who knows where it was done, maybe find video evidence. I'm sure all of it is, I'm sure that place is, there's surveillance in that place. Perhaps they can track it down and see if David was with her when she got this tattoo, right? That would be interesting if they can get a hold of that.
Or where we've had victims that are in an advanced state of decomposition, they've been dumped. I've had hands cut off, heads cut off, those sorts of things. And so, it's a feeble attempt, particularly in the face of modern forensic science, to try to keep these people unidentified, because it's always been my contention in any death investigation, Nancy, if you can determine who the person is, it's like the proverbial sweater that mom tells you not to pull the string on. You pull that string and this whole thing comes unraveled relative to it pointing back to this individual, Nancy.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here. David Anthony Burke. That breaks my heart. And her little broken heart that he would not quit dating other women led to her murder because she threatened to reveal their relationship. He was on the verge. Let me go to Steve Fisher on this because he's made an incredible timeline. He was on the verge of dropping an album and launching a world tour. Celeste could have ruined the whole thing. He could either marry her or kill her?
Yeah, he is true. And these other women were minors that he was that she was upset about, and I'm in touch with them, and it's just really sad. This is grooming to the fullest extent. I'll tell you one other thing that somebody called me that now that it's comfortable, since David's been arrested, and they told me that Celeste had been trying to get the ring back to David, and he wouldn't take it. She was
What? Hold up. I need the captions for this. He said what?
He could either marry her or kill her.
Yeah, he is true. And these other women were minors that he was that she was upset about, and I'm in touch with them, and it's just really sad. This is grooming to the fullest extent. I'll tell you one other thing that somebody called me that now that it's comfortable, since David's been arrested, and they told me that Celeste had been trying to get the ring back to David, and
Celeste had been trying to get the ring back to David.
he wouldn't take it. She was like trying to cut free from this guy. Of course.
What? What the fuck?
You know, she's being groomed, so she's still got this thing, you know, where she's having trouble doing it, but she wanted to break free from him, and he would not take the ring back. He would not let her go.
Steve Fisher, you have exclusive video of d4vd's Tesla being moved around in the neighborhood, and you are allowing us to show it. I want to thank you for that. Let's see Steve Fisher's video. What am I saying, Steve?
So this is July 29th, which is the last day they're actually in Hollywood, because they're leaving on his tour, on the Wither tour, is beginning that evening in Santa Barbara. And this is the car being moved from the house. The house is right around where the car starts. It's right around that corner there. And it's coming down to where it wraps around to Bluebird. And this is somebody moving the car. I think it's around 10:30 in the morning. I might be off by an hour or so there. But they have the window down. The car's super dirty. You can tell it hasn't been moved in an extremely long time. They did the windshield wipers once or twice to get rid of it. And it's a lighter skinned, person with wearing red, sleeves and a red type of jersey.
He's not doubling down. He's tripling down.
So
sounds like Neo, one of his best friends, who has not been charged, who appeared at the grand jury, who is not a person of interest.
He either pled the fifth or he got a deal, if we're being honest.
Steve Fisher, what is the date of that video we're showing right now?
July 29th, 2025. And this is the date. This is the last
you're
date.
saying the windows were rolled down and it's coming out of d4vd's mansion. Do you believe that Celeste her body was already in the front trunk?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Nancy, where you been? Like, where the fuck have you been, Nancy? What the fuck you think we're talking about here, dude? Yes, on July 29th, she was in there. I can't. I'm done with this stream.
Yes.
Why?
Because they leave. This is the last day that the car is driven. They leave that evening, early in the evening, late afternoon, on a tour bus for the first leg of the tour, which starts in Santa Barbara, and ironically in San Francisco. And so this is it. They leave and they're not back until the search warrant. After the search warrant is executed. Now, somebody is back, not David, but somebody is in that house the day before the search warrant is executed, and we don't know. We haven't narrowed down the two people, but we don't know exactly who. But David and is out on tour and doesn't come back before she's found.
What an idiot! All the digital evidence, ordering from Amazon, Postmates, Uber, where he lured her, according to these documents.
I can't see this timeline she has again. I'm getting sick. So let's end it with
use
body bags,
so she won't bleed on his floor. But guess what? He didn't get rid of all the blood, did he?
No, I think that it's probably an empirical impossibility. You know why? Because she was rendered, according to what they're saying, Nancy, and I've worked cases. And they are some of the most brutal cases that you can encounter from a rendering standpoint. This is critical in the sense that, just let me give you one quick stat. A actually moves at anywhere from 12,000 at the top end to 15,000 RPM. That's revolutions per minute. What the ME is saying relative to the report, they're talking about how the edges are clean. And I had a lot of questions about this when I read the autopsy report, thinking about, well, that's probably reasons you're seeing this embedded plastic on the surface of these injuries. And one more thing here. They alleged that he had done this in the garage. Now, I don't know how thoroughly they were able to clean up, but they had to have recovered something. And Nancy, he himself, whoever the perpetrator was, would have absolutely been covered in all of this debris off of her body.
Well, look at page 6, Joe Scott. Page 6. Inside the garage, detectives discovered evidence consistent with what happened to the victim's body, the rendering. Look at that, Steve Fisher. We're showing a shot of the party you first told us about, Steve. These are your photos. What happened?
Somehow he is within 24 hours, out celebrating it. And what I don't understand, and maybe Joseph can speak more to this, can you even clean the scene up within this amount of time before he's at this party to the point where, LAPD, when they came out and did that search warrant, they didn't turn it into a major crime scene. They weren't in Tevic suits after they found some, they were only there a few hours. So I'm confused how he was able to clean it so well by himself and then have a party the next night that started at 9 p.m., not super late. So I still have a lot of questions after this affidavit or after.
I've got a question about how he was out there partying after he just murdered and rendered a little girl, and he's partying. I mean, career before all. There was no way in HELL he was going to let a little 13-year-old girl destroy his world tour and his album drop. Oh, no.
Well, that's the motive right there, you guys. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover on this live today. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I'm out of here. Peace out.